FOMO, Wells only and his guests are not responsible for any losses you may accrue for having weak hands. Where the haters at? Y'all bitches still ain't showed up. And now, right, we got Hex, flawless uptime. People thought this was a joke. Now they're mad at the chart. This is Wales only. Glad you guys can make it out. I'm making some claims that are pretty outlandish, but I can back them up. Boom. End of story. There is no other crypto out there, so don't get it twisted. If you don't understand where you're parking your money, you're gonna pay the consequences for that, and that's just how the cookie crumbles. Boom. We're obliterating everybody, literally. There is nobody else that comes close to what Hex has done. Boom. Oh, it's about to get funky. Funkier than you could have ever imagined. You know, Richard Hart is a boss. Hex is literally the best thing on the planet. It's simple mathematics, right? The reality is that I want to be rich as fuck. There's only one way to be rich as fuck. That's by sitting on your ass the longest. Yep. That's it. Yep. That's the secret. The Godwell told you. Richard done told you. I done told you. Kareem done told you. Maddie done told you. Everybody done told you. Everybody done told you. Shit, motherfuckers still acting like they don't know. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
100% safe. There's plenty of games left.
Valiant done told you. Yo, everybody said it. Man, hey, you know what it is, man? Everybody done told you. Y'all's deep. Everybody. My God. Ex-Asians, bro. Everybody. Australians, man. Everybody gets me. Yo, when is it told you? Dollar told you. Everybody done told you. It's crazy. Happy Friday to all. Hope everybody's having an outstanding day. So I'm just gonna get right down to it. Shout out to everybody in the chat. See you guys on the volume, on the video playback. I'll see what I can do. I don't really have any levels per se, so it must be the videos. Hear me out. Maybe we all don't know, but for those that don't know, the U.S. government hasn't existed in over 20 years, maybe even longer, in all honesty. And what we have been under has been corporations, basically, probably for at least 50 years. So essentially it coincides with the finalization of the Civil War, right, back in the 1860s. And why is America the sole focus for the international folks? The reason America is the sole focus in most instances is because everybody else has to fall into place with whatever we say and do. Period. That's just how it works. As long as the charade continues, that's how it's going to work. So that's why all the vaccining and all those types of psyop things that people in Europe and whatever just don't have a fucking clue about, what people here do. That's why they could pull it off over there much easier than they can here. So anyways, all of that's to say that if their goal is to keep people at each other's throats while they continue robbing and pillaging, then there's definitely going to be war coming. Because what better way to kill off those of us that were too smart to fall victim to their stupid psyop. War. That's the only other way to get rid of us. So as I've said many times before, now is the time to put on your thinking cap and stop relying on others, because you will not make it. I promise you that. That's just the way war is. And war is not always bullets and bombs, people. And this is the hard thing that most people have a problem realizing. And that's why they won't make it to the other side. That's why so many took the death jab, because they're fucking morons. Plain and simple. To have people lie to you your entire life and for you to just never catch on, you gotta be a moron. Right? Because there's some things that are just so inconsistent that it's just like, there's no fucking way. But people choose, right? People choose. And that's what's important to understand. Just like people have chosen to let things get to this point, it behooves you to understand that everything is a choice. And moving forward, your choices are going to be based on what you know is true and or false. And I'm letting you guys know now, just like I've been telling people since I started streaming, and I've been dead on. Fuck around and find out is about to be a reality for everybody. Good luck, because you're going to need it. Because people love to believe there's a savior. And that thought process is exactly what's going to get a lot of people killed. Because there is nobody that's coming to save you. It's all smoke and mirrors. Question is, can you look through the fog? And most motherfuckers cannot. So, good luck. And let's get the party started. And let's get it started with a little humor. Just because I love this little video. It's so damn funny.
Right, you ready?
Let me know if you guys can hear that.
Yep, when you're ready. Okay. Since the January 6th attack on the US Capitol, when supporters of Donald Trump stormed this building, trying to prevent the election victory of Joe Biden from being certified. On the anniversary. Oh my God. Oh God, Sam. Oh. Right, you ready?
Further proof that God don't like ugly. Now, Canada, I don't even know what to make of what's going on in Canada. But this is the prime minister or whatever. I mean, this dude can't even clap. I mean, what species is this guy that he can't even clap right? That is not a human being. I don't give a fuck what anybody else says. Look at him versus everybody else. I mean, these are just random people. You can't tell me he's the only motherfucker in existence that doesn't know how to clap. You kidding me? Man, good luck, Canada. Y'all motherfuckers won't need that shit. All right, now down to business.
the numbers you need.
Down to business. Pay attention. Because you guys need to understand your existence moving forward is predicated on your bullshit meter. Good luck.
The numbers you need to understand. Yale University released a study last week by 3 researchers, all of them liberal, I believe, who concluded that the actual number of illegal aliens in this country is not 11 million, it's north of 22 million. 22 million. Fact 1. Fact 2. The Democratic Party is now as a matter of policy, calling for the legalization of all illegals in this country. Citizenship voting rights, 22 million new voters. Fact 3, the overwhelming majority of first-time immigrant voters vote Democrat. Fact 4, the largest margin in American presidential history was 17 million votes. 1984 election between Mondale and Reagan.
And Reagan, yeah.
17 million. You would add to our voter rolls 22 million at least, permanent electoral majority in perpetuity. That's what this is about. It's not about making the country better, serving our labor needs, helping the population. It's about putting Democrats in power forever. That is the truth of our immigration debate, period. The numbers you need.
Now let's tap into some public sentiment.
Ass out the way, Mr. Biden. Move the fuck out the way, Marty. Excuse me, all the people up in the back that look like me. Why is it that every time one of us get up here and say that we want to vote for the Cheeto Puff hole, y'all get y'all ashen black kneecap, elbow cap having ass in my damn comment section and attack all the white folk? Make that make sense. Then sit your goofy ass down and look up in my damn face. Make that shit make sense. Why is it that y'all don't come and give me the smoke? Y'all go and attack the white folks, calling them damn paper towel pilgrims, jars of mayonnaise. I mean, all types of hateful shit. And then think the rest of us supposed to take you seriously. Sit your goofy ass down some damn well. Stupid. Shut up, Mr. Biden. You ain't getting no damn ice cream. Everybody getting on my damn nerves, big stupid stuff.
Black Americans. We're not African American. We're not people of color. We're not black and brown, minority, BIPOC, none of that. People, no, none of that. This is about our people demanding the resources, just as you've given these people, these newcomers who are walking into this country. And sister's correct. How do you take a new group of people that have paid no taxes, can't vote, and you put them in front of the voters?
I'm not going to pay them no damn taxes.
And so we say this to you, Mayor, Governor, President. If you think that they're that powerful that you have to acquiesce and answer to them over us, then you tell them to vote for you in the next elections. You tell them to support your Democratic National Convention. We're going to show you how we feel about the Democratic National Convention.
Turn it up. Thank you.
If you think you're going to have a peaceful Democratic National Convention in the city of Chicago while our people are starving, stay tuned. Stay tuned.
All right.
Oh, we're not going to stand out like that. And we ask any of those who are about closing borders. We don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, or whatever. As long as you're about closing these borders, we can support you.
That's right.
And anybody who is about open borders, we're against you. Plain and simple.
Man, how times have changed. Because nobody would have put money on this just 6 months ago. Nobody would have put money on this just 3 months ago. But somebody told you. Done told you everything. Now, the thing to understand is, again, what is the truth? That's the question we always have to come back to. If we don't know what the truth is, then how do we know what makes sense? What's acting? Who's a sleeper? Who's awake? Who's just posing? We don't really know, because all we receive now are images, videos, because the text can only do but so much. Now, the idea is to get people emotionally involved, emotionally committed. And that's what I advise you don't become. Because how can you be objective if your demeanor is purely subjective? Because that's what happens when you are no longer operating from a basis of objectivity and surrendering to your emotions. So please be careful moving forward. What's obvious should be obvious. And what these folks are talking about is obviously a problem. But what you have to be careful with is the divisiveness of it. Because it's not cut and dry. And that's what people need to be wary of moving forward. Now we enter into some shit you just need to know about. American grocery stores are selling garlic from China grown in raw human sewage. It is then bleached, dyed white, and sold to Americans. And how people discovered this is because a bill was recently introduced called the Sewage Garlic Act. I'll tell you guys, we can't know it all, and pretending that you have a clue is your first issue. Let's listen in.
Ask yourself a question. Why would China be dyeing garlic white? Is it because they think the consumer likes it nice and bright and pristine and white? Or is it because it's grown in raw human sewage and they need to change the color from black to white? I heard this on the news the other day and I just had to find out what the heck this is all about. And here's what I found. Apparently, this problem is so prevalent that a bill had to be introduced by Senator Rick Scott. Go check it out on Google for yourself, and this is what you'll get. Today, Senator Rick Scott introduced the Stopping Eating Waste and Guarantee Excellence for Garlic Assurance and Regulatory Legislation to Inhibit Chinese Sewage Garlic Imports Act to ban the import of garlic from Communist China following reports that the garlic is grown in raw human sewage. Then, it's bleached and harvested in abhorrent conditions, often with slave labor. Senator Scott also released a public service announcement urging families to look out for Communist China's sewage garlic when grocery shopping. Get rid of sewage garlic. Ask your.
I honestly have no comment because I make sure I don't buy shit that comes from China. And I know what like real garlic looks like. So I don't know, man, but you need to learn what real food is if you don't know. Because there's just so many traps out there that you just are not fucking privy to. Good luck.
I would like shortly to warn people from upcoming danger for humanity. The World Health Organization wants all countries to sign an agreement on handing over the authority to declare a pandemic, procure vaccine and drugs. It will be healthier and safer for humanity to sign agreement with the Colombian drug cartel. They know all about drugs for sure. During the COVID pandemic, World Health Organization only told lies. It should be declared a terroristic organization. They lied. That is a new and known virus. That is possible to make an effective vaccine. That the vaccine is 82% effective. That it protects against serious illness and deaths. That all, of course, were foolish and lies. Today, World Health Organization is more dangerous for humanity than World Economic Forum. Thank you.
I'm about to call the United States Navy. You're going to want to hear this conversation.
America's Navy, this is Petty Officer Adam.
Hey, Adam, this is Cody. I'm calling from Washington State.
Hello, Cody. I am in Oregon State.
Yes, I just heard on TikTok that you guys are no longer requiring GEDs or high school diplomas. Is that true?
Will do, Senior. You still there?
Yes.
Okay, so the new word, so yes, apparently that is correct. But the caveat to that is you have to score 50 or above on the ASVAB.
All right. Well, thank you for clarifying that. Looks like we're going to war.
Well, thanks for giving me information. Oh, well, let's hope not. But thanks for giving me some information. So I appreciate it, and I learned a little bit. So good to go. Yeah, if you get any more questions or anything, reach out to us, okay?
I appreciate that. Have a good day. Straight from the horse's mouth. We're going to war.
older with the Band-Aid.
Now, earlier you were telling us changes that you saw in the blood.
Yes.
Wow, sorry guys. I didn't realize that I was talking with no volume. So what I was saying about this one is that I don't know this area of France or Paris, but I'm fairly confident that all those tractors do not belong on that road. Pretty sure of that. I mean, that shit is crazy. Now let's listen to this lady. This lady is an embalmer with 27 years of experience. She's hailing out of Canada. And, you know, prepare your stomach because these things are just not normal and they're hiding it for a very good reason.
Older with the Band-Aid.
Now, earlier you were telling us changes that you saw in the blood.
Yes.
So you were seeing little clots.
Mhm.
You were seeing color change.
Oh, wow. So I've been muted since the Wrangler video. Okay, so the Wrangler video, let me explain that one before we actually get into this one. So the Wrangler video, in the United States, you have to have at least a high school diploma, you know, a teenage level education to enter the military. You still have to take an entrance exam regardless. So that's not changing anything as far as entrance requirements into the military are concerned. However, if you understand society in America, then you comprehend that no high school or GED requirement is pretty fucking crazy. Because getting to that level in the United States is difficult enough in most places because education is not touted as a positive thing in the United States. So, while 80% of the population lives in cities, you know, typically the military, the armed forces are not made up of city folk. Very few city folk. I mean, that's probably different now, but back in the day, when things were still relatively quote unquote normal, the makeup of the military was skewed towards rural people, people that grew up in the rural side of wherever they're from versus the city side. Always skewed towards those country boys or girls, just the way it's been. I don't know if that's changed because I'm no longer in the service. But what you have to understand is that when you remove a requirement, which is really like the biggest one, I mean, I just discovered this today. So that no high school diploma thing is really crazy. Because, you know, when I first joined the military, if you had a resident card, a green card, you could join under the premise that you would eventually become nationalized or naturalized or whatever the word is. But they ultimately took that away. But nowadays, I'm pretty sure they're just letting motherfuckers in and not saying anything. Because they can just do whatever they want and lie and get away with it. Who's going to check the checkers? And this is why you, the citizen, need to know what the rules and regs are. Because I'm going to tell you what, if you're a parent, you know you don't tell your kids the truth all the time. If ever. So why in the hell would government tell us anything that they don't want us to know when they don't have to? Like, I don't understand why people are so stupid. But let's listen into this.
Older with the Band-Aid.
Now, earlier you were telling us changes that you saw in the blood.
Yes.
So you were seeing little clots.
Mhm.
You were seeing color changes.
Yes.
Was there also something else happening that you were starting to observe?
Yeah, and that's what everybody wants to hear about, right? So first, the
like you said, the viscosity changed, which means the color is going to be deeper, right? There's a stickiness. It's been termed dirty blood. There's small microclots in the return. And the odd time, there was like a rainbow slick, right? Remember the 80s? They had those rainbow slick dresses, or oil slick dresses, I think they called them. You would see that on the odd occasion, which is really weird. And then, and nobody can put their finger on it. That's the weird thing. So in the spring of 2021, so we're talking April, May, so 4 or 5 months after the rollouts of the gene therapy, right? So you would, the first time I saw it, I thought it was a parasite. So we have something called drainage forceps. I use a pair, generally speaking, that are about this long and then have a handled port, and you can squeeze them like tweezers, right? So curved tweezers, think of them that way. So I use that to pull anything out of the way on the venous side of the body. So where you're draining the return blood, okay? And all of a sudden I was having trouble. I couldn't understand, right? And then I pulled it out and I went, and I kind of, you know, you can turn the drainage forceps and you can see what's in it, right? And I'm sort of like this, and I see something that I thought was a tapeworm, which was weird because tapeworms shouldn't be in a circulatory system, right? And then I'm seeing, like, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, is this a parasite? Because a tapeworm's a parasite. That looked like a parasite. And it was at that point maybe, you know, like 3-4 inches long, right? That's a small one. But at that point, that was a huge one for me because I'd never seen this before. This was a whole new anomaly.
So I just want to make sure. So, I mean, at that point, you had been embalming for a quarter of a century, 25 years.
Yeah, with
And
a heavy focus on it, yeah.
You had never seen anything like that in
No.
your career.
Absolutely not. So blood clots are sort of in a few categories. There's current jelly blood clots, there's chicken fat blood clots, there's just sludging, which is thicker blood in general. And then there was this anomaly, which I thought was a parasite, but it's not.
In what percentage? So this starts in April, May of 2021.
Yes.
So once you saw your first one, how common was it?
It just happened. It just kept happening. It was everybody. So there was that.
And how much of this would you find?
Over time, it got bigger. So when I first started seeing it, it would be small, right? And then when I started seeing it near the end of my time frame there, if you were to take a small side plate, like a bread plate, and put spaghetti on it and kind of heap it, that could happen, yeah. Yeah, and they're longer and longer. And then the integrated jelly clots at the end, of course, adds to the confusion. Like if you were thinking it was a parasite, right? The integrated jelly clots were always at the end.
So can you explain what you're talking about when you say integrated jelly?
Okay, so
Just
if
so
you
that the
think of
commissioners
a
understand.
white, you think of have you ever seen those erasers that you push out and they're like a pen, but they're a circle, right? Like they're round, cylindrical. So you think of one of those, right? But then it maybe has a couple little tentacles of eraser coming out the end. And then there's a blood clot that is integrated into the end of those tentacles. It felt like it was a parasite that was feeding off a blood clot that it created in the body. So when you think of a parasite, you think because it feeds off of something, right? So then you see the jelly clots at the end of this parasite, right? You see those and you think, are they feeding off of us as humans, right? Out of our circulatory system. Because they always had the current jelly integrated at the ends. It's something to see.
Well, there you have it. I think somebody that has no vested interest in lying is probably not going to be lying. Now, pay close attention to this, because this is crazy.
Well, now we know for a fact the United Nations is funding the migrant crisis. We can stop guessing. From the Center for Immigration Studies, and I will put the article link in the comments section so everybody can go read it for themselves. But here you go. United Nations budgets million for U.S. bound migrants in 2024. Public documents show cash handouts to help feed, transport, and house people headed for the U.S. border. And hey, at least they even have a projection that, in a nutshell, the United Nations and its advocacy partners are planning to spread the $372 million in cash and voucher assistance and multi-purpose cash assistance to some 624,000 immigrants in transit to the United States during 2020.
So these people are not even here yet. That's $370 million set aside for motherfuckers that are not even here. How much are you getting from that? Or from anybody? Fuck a job, because these motherfuckers aren't even here.
So I'll put the link as in my comment thread so you guys can all read this. But yeah, now we don't have to guess at all that the United Nations is funding this, and we don't have to guess because we've got 624,000 coming. Enjoy the read. Have a great day.
So not only have you been robbed of $370 million, it's going to be gifted to motherfuckers that are not even here yet. And it's to make your life a living hell. So there you go.
EVs, electric vehicles. Many automakers have said this has sort of been the bane of their existence, that the market just isn't there to support what they call the heavy hand of government to force the issue. Sure enough, we learned just a few minutes ago, Sean, after the bell ended for the day, that Tesla shares are falling after the car maker forecasts slower growth because of weak, EV sales, or weaker than expected. Do you think that's a problem for the automakers? You're quite right. You scored this historic and very generous labor package for your members, but that it's imperiled by this industry push for EVs.
Look, we have to have an environment we can all live in where we can breathe clean air and, have clean water. The UAW has always led the way in environmental concerns, going back to our founding. And, wherever the industry goes, we're going to be a part of it. Our workers are going to be a part of it. We're going to fight for those jobs, and we're going to fight for it to be a just transition where it pays good wages, good benefits, so that people can afford to live off that job.
Do you think it's being pushed too quickly, though? And I guess that's what I'm asking, that it comes with the president doing so. But he has to juggle, I understand, the wishes of environmentalists, and you're an environmentally concerned union chief. I get that. But that too much so, and it could hurt your members going forward, especially if these sales just languish.
Well, look, we still make ICE engines and ICE vehicles, and we're in both markets. And however this goes, we're going to protect our workers. But being concerned about there's infrastructure that has to be put in place still. All those things are being worked. As far as the timetable goes, adjustments may have to be made. Businesses always make adjustments when they launch new plants or create new businesses. They have a deadline target, and a lot of times those get moved. So, it's just going to be a matter of how things develop and how the market goes.
There's always a dichotomy. The union membership in the past was very strong for Ronald Reagan in both elections. George Bush Sr. benefited from the union vote. Many of your own members now, Sean, are very big Trump supporters. I don't know the breakdown, that part better than I, but that a good many of them are at Trump rallies and are MAGA enthusiasts. How do you feel about that?
Look, it's what makes this country, a beacon for other countries. It's democracy in action. Look, let me be clear about this. A great majority of our members will not vote for President Biden. Yes, some will. But that's the reality of this. The majority of our members are going to vote their paychecks. They're going to vote for an economy that works for them, and they're going to vote for a president. When you look at these two presidents, the choice is very clear about which one stands up with the working class and stands up for labor, and which one stands for the billionaire class, and that's his base.
We shall watch very closely.
All right, guys. So what's important from this Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened, but everything just got like rugged. And I don't think you guys even heard what I was saying last about the union guy. But let me repeat it. That union president, yeah, always seems to happen lately, right? These tech issues. So sorry about that, guys. But that union president, that guy is a Bidenite. So for him to basically throw Biden under the bus is very weird. So I don't know why he's telling the truth, but there you have it. Now this is Biden as a senator aggressively advocating for bombing 12-year-old Novak Djokovic. Now this is going to be like a split between one scene and the other. Let's tune in.
I was suggesting we bomb Belgrade. I was suggesting that we send American pilots in and blow up all the bridges on the Drina. I was suggesting we take out his oil supplies.
In 99, when we had bombings, as you mentioned, we did live in the apartment that is about 500 feet away from here. We would come always to this apartment and always to this building every single night for God knows how many nights, but particularly 15, 20 nights of bombing because our building did not have a shelter. So this building had a shelter, underground shelter. So it was just a horrifying experience for everyone, particularly for children that were, we did not really realize what is happening. Why are the planes flying over our city and dropping bombs? Who does that?
You have probably the only three people in Washington here who think we should go straight to Belgrade and arrest Milosevic. But let's not kid.
I think the most important line in this, out of that we're going to hear out of this 5-minute video is what I'm about to play back.
Bombs, who does that happening? Children that were, we did not really realize what is happening. Why are the planes flying over our city and dropping bombs? Who does that?
That's really the whole point of this, guys. Who the fuck does that? Apparently, we all are okay with it. And that's what I don't understand. Who the fuck is okay with it? Apparently, everybody.
You have probably the only three people in Washington here who think we should go straight to Belgrade and arrest Milosevic. But let's not kid each other. We're the only three people. The rest of this is malarkey. The Republican Congress won't even vote for the bombing.
I was celebrating my 12th birthday party at the tennis club, Partizan, where I grew up. And, during the happy birthday song, there was a plane just flying over. I can't really comprehend how horrifying and scary that experience is and how helpless you are. You are here on the ground and someone is flying over and just dropping bomb in a second and just disappearing.
The NATO forces won't even go along with the idea of ground troops. And whether or not the president will or will not is not relevant. The question, seems to me, is what is the definition of victory? We sat in this program before. The definition of victory was all the troops out of Kosovo, the Albanians back in Kosovo, and a NATO-led force in Kosovo. That's not total victory. That's not the victory I want. That's not the victory John wants. I've been saying we should go on the ground. We should announce there's going to be American casualties. We should go to Belgrade and we should have a Japanese, German-style occupation of that country.
So we were just about to fall asleep again. And then a huge explosion happened. And then my mom, she stood up very quickly and she hit the heaters and with her head and she felt unconscious. And so it was us crying because of the bombs and us crying because mom is not reacting. And my dad is there and just, what is happening, And so luckily my dad manages to help my mom get back to herself normal as much as she could. And we collect our stuff quickly and just take the necessities and we go out. there was no street lights. Everything was shut off, and it was so loud that we could not hear each other. We were very close to each other, but we could not, even if you scream, they don't hear you. And my dad was carrying my brothers, and my mom was running with stuff, and then I slipped and I fell. And as I turned around, I looked towards the building, and I see this stealth plane just flying and just dropping things, and then the ground is shaking. And then, of course, that's one of the most traumatic experience and images that I had in my childhood that stayed with me till this day. And we were lucky, I think, our families, that we did not lose anybody that is very close to us. There are a lot of people that lost very close people in their lives, and that's a different level of suffering and different level of trauma. I mean, I can't even imagine the pain that I had to bear.
Why, some of you ask, have I been so relentless on Serbia, and Kostunica, who I do not trust? Why have I been so reluctant, so persistent in not providing aid to the people of Serbia, who are many good people? Why? Because until they look in their hearts, they can never cure themselves of the disease that they are the oppressed. And as long as they operate on that standard, this cycle will continue and continue and continue. That's why, not for vengeance, but for release, that it's necessary for them to look the devil in the eye.
They hide nothing, folks. Question is, are you paying attention?
Hi, Dave Brown from Stand Tall. Last night, my wife and I resigned our head coaching positions for varsity and JV girls tennis at our high school we're at. For the last 25 years, I've coached varsity basketball, varsity tennis, coached in over 1,090 games, won 667 and lost 423. I've had a lot of success, but I finally reached the point where I had to resign last night because of boys playing girls tennis. And the reason we did is we're just not going to support boys playing girls sports. This is wrong on every level. These are not girls. They're boys saying they're a girl. They're playing a false sport, come back and play a girls sport and go back to playing a boys sport. All they have to do is change their paperwork at the district office. I'm not going to support it. I'm never going to lie to a kid. I'm going to support my wife, who was a pioneer in Title IX. And every other girl that's come along now expects every adult to do the right thing and protect them. We're not protecting girls now. K through 12 and women's sports. We're allowing men or boys to play in these sports. It's dangerous. It's wrong. We have boys in the locker rooms watching girls go through their get ready for practice or a match or a game. How wrong is that for a girl to have to endure something like that? What we would have called 5 or 6 years ago somebody going to jail is now acceptable in high schools and middle schools. This is absolutely wrong when a girl has to fear this, but she can't say anything. And if you're in a public school, at least in Oregon, you can't say anything, or you will be ostracized, you will be put down, you will be shamed, and you just don't have a voice. People can't stand up and say anything, but I will. I'm going to say this is wrong on every level. You should contact every school board member that you have in your area and say, there's no way we're doing this. Contact administrators, but say it, and say it strong. Just do it.
Tell you guys, it's not going to stop just because you want it to. People need to be incentivized to act. And unfortunately, on both sides, that needs to be the case. Sitting at home, acting like this shit is not going on is not going to end it.
Don't buy McCormick Spices. McCormick was sued for having heavy metals in their spices. Ground basil, ginger, and turmeric were among the products that were found heightened level of heavy toxic metals. These metals can cause cancer and serious damage to brain development. Tisk, tisk, McCormick. Don't buy McCormick Spices.
There you have it, folks. Pay attention. Now, this just more lameness you need to be aware of. Utah Democrats are wearing all black to mourn the passing of some ridiculous bills that they were trying to get passed. HB 257 bans men. They are mourning the passing of a couple of bills that, and wait for it. One bill, the 257 HB 257, bans men from girls' bathrooms in schools, and HB 261 bans DEI from public education. And these people here are mourning it. Let's hear what stupidity they have to share.
We are hurting, and that's because we are hurting, and we join our communities, the most marginalized communities and vulnerable communities through this process, as we just came out of the Senate floor that passed HB 257 and HB 261, and they're being moved really fast to get to the governor's desk. And that's because we are hurting.
What's interesting to note is how they're all wearing black as if they knew what was coming. Isn't that interesting? Now, I think we've come to a point where the fact that more paperwork is needed to stop this ridiculousness is the actual problem. I mean, really? We need more paperwork to point out that this shit is dumb and should not be happening? I mean, why do we have anything, any institution, I mean, if we can just pretend to be whatever the fuck we want, then I'm a fucking billionaire and y'all can all suck my dick. Done. Like, it's that simple? Really? It's fucking ridiculous, man. So ridiculous.
You know, how can people get a hold of these energy weapons? You know, the government has all the energy weapons. Nobody has energy weapons. Well, guess what? If you have a 1200-watt microwave oven in your home and you peel the side of the oven open, which I had a case where these people did that. They were getting a conflict with their neighbors. And what they did is they peeled the microwave open on the side, and then they went, and this is a diagram that you can see on the internet, and they faced this weapon through the walls. And microwaves go right through the walls like they weren't there. So they radiated the next apartment and the next two apartments down. Each apartment, the people were getting sicker and sicker. And after I did this story, I talked about it on Coast to Coast. I had these people call me up and say, well, can you send me the plans? Oh, man, I tell you, you know, and it fries you what it does. And first of all, let me just say something about microwave. Isn't it a little odd? They say, don't even operate the microwave or don't even stand near close to the microwave when it's operating because it's unhealthy.
Viewers out there, to let you guys know how microwave radiation works in comparison to Apple's new AirPods Pro. I'm right next to the microwave and look at it, 300 to 400 milliwatts per meter squared. All right, there you go, right there, 450 milliwatts meter squared, almost 500. And that's a centimeter away. I'm going to put it really close. And it's broke the meter. So if you look on WHO's website, the World Health Organization, in public exposure limits, maximum public safety exposure, it has microwaves to go up to 0.5 watts, which is 500 milliwatts. So the highest amount of radiation this fella could leak is 500 milliwatts. And AirPods Pro, it's designed to go between your ears. It's going similar levels to a friggin' microwave on full blast. So you have to be like this. This is life with an AirPods Pro.
Well, here you got this klystron tube that's in it. And what it does is it puts 2.4 gigahertz into the food and it vibrates the molecules at this frequency.
I hope you guys understand what you are doing nowadays with all this technology, because I know I do, which is why I don't use it. I don't own a microwave. The only thing I have that's dangerous is my cell phone and Wi-Fi. But I don't really use Wi-Fi. I'm never really near any Wi-Fi. Only time I really use it is when I'm using an iPad. And I don't really know. if this generation of iPad even emits the electromagnetic field that AirPods do, or even a phone on Wi-Fi does, because it's so old. Because I always use old tech. And this is stuff, guys, that you really need to know, because we don't know what the long-term impacts are. Oh, you should not eat microwavable popcorn. Oh no, that's even worse than using the microwave, actually. You're guaranteeing a soon death with that one. So you gotta be careful with that. If I find a popcorn clip, I'll show it. Cause yeah, you guys gotta know. Um, you gotta really understand what you're using, like what this tech is, right? Like if you're using anything that's wireless, it's going to emit electromagnetic frequencies, which will disrupt your electromagnetic frequencies, which is the problem. Think about it.
We recently attended the Hibernian Law Journal lecture entitled Emergency Powers and the Executive, Reflections on the Past and a Vision for the Future. After an hour of whitewashing what the Irish government have done over the past 2 years, a law student in the audience puts a difficult question to the panel.
Sorry guys, are any worried about Nuremberg 2 in Ireland, given there's been so many things papered over in the last 2 years in relation to experimental vaccines, and the Irish establishment that's represented here, a microcosm of the Irish establishment? All of you have colluded together to cheerlead this experimental vaccine program without any oversight, and you're not talking about any of the results that have come out recently. Are any of you afraid of Nuremberg 2? No? Okay, thanks for the answer.
Why did you just walk out and not address the question?
I thought that shit was hilarious because none of them motherfuckers know. All right, let's keep it moving. Do you know how much money is spent on Valentine's Day every year? It's going to be an interesting 2024 because I expect that their sales will be down just in general. I just think that people's wavelengths have changed significantly. Like this past Christmas was just that, in my opinion. And it started with Black Friday. Like there wasn't a Black Friday this year. Nope. Let's tune in.
I will buy you a dozen red roses if you can correctly guess how much money we spent on Valentine's Day last year. I'll give you a hint. It was more than you think. See, I was at the grocery store this morning, snooping in the laundry detergent aisle, when I noticed something. What? So you know what this means. That's right, I'm about to ruin another holiday for you, and then we'll fix the problem. See, we've all heard the term Hallmark Holidays, but do you actually know how much money corporations are making off of these holidays? $25.9 billion last year. Here's a graph of yearly Valentine's Day sales in billions of dollars. $2.3 billion on flowers, $1.8 billion on candy, $2.1 billion on lingerie, $1 billion on greeting cards that you could make yourself, and a whopping $6.2 billion on jewelry. Almost all of that money is traditionally getting spent at giant mega corporations. Like who's benefiting off all that lingerie? L Brands, Victoria's Secret Bath and Body Works. You know, L Brands, founded by one of Epstein's closest business partners in all the world. It's a dark rabbit hole. Maybe get your panties from somewhere else. Or all that jewelry from Tiffany & Co., who's owned by LVMH, the world's largest luxury goods company, founded by Bernard Arnault, who is an estimated net worth of $181 billion. This guy is in the top 3 richest people in the world, according to the public information. Or all that chocolate you're buying from Hershey's, whose board of directors is full of people that have worked at companies like Coca-Cola and Kellogg's. Oh, and Kimberly-Clark, you know, the company that makes tampons that poison your coochie. Or this dude who worked for 24 years at Procter & Gamble, the other company that makes tampons that poison your coochie. Or this dude who was a banker at Goldman Sachs. That's who you're buying your candy from. See, I fucking hate holidays like this because it is so explicitly just giant mega corporations exploiting your love for your partner for them to make billions of dollars. Fuck that. Fuck you guys. So how about this year? They can go fuck themselves, and we can buy from some family-owned, some founder-owned, some small businesses, and not give another $26 billion to giant mega corporations. So today I want to introduce you to Derek, if you don't already know him. Derek is the founder and owner of Wicked Bold Chocolate, and he is the CEO of Not Giving a Fuck on TikTok.
My name's Derek Cahill, and I sell fucking chocolate. What kind of chocolate? You little bitch. It's Wicked Bold Chocolate. My family-owned chocolate company. Dairy-free, gluten-free, no artificial ingredients, sustainably sourced dark fucking chocolate. It's literally named after my family. My wife broke up. My daughter Ophelia. My son Landon. I'm Derek. That little tiny registered trademark. My baby Rowan. Jesus fucking Christ. Now before you know about this, every fucking order that you place on a TikTok shop, free stickers. I'm gonna give you 2 free stickers forever. Every time you place an order on TikTok shop, free middle finger stickers.
So this is just the start of my mission to take down Valentine's Day this year. Fuck Valentine's Day. Link to Derek's TikTok shop is right here. Pick up yourself some chocolate and pick up yourself some fuck you stickers. Maybe in place of those dumbass Hallmark cards you don't need. See how your boo likes that one. And ladies, before you get up in these comments, don't even bother. Your boy's spoken for. Yeah, baby. Yeah, that's right. Back to the fuck off.
Castor oil is a very thick, gooey oil, and I don't suggest you take castor oil by mouth. Castor oil, I think, should only be used on the outside. Castor oil can penetrate deeper than any other oil, and wherever castor oil is applied, it penetrates very deep into the body. No other oil will do that. And wherever castor oil penetrates, it breaks up lumps, bumps, adhesions. It'll break down a bone spur. Now what you do, this is a compress, not a poultice. And as a compress, you make a thick compress so that it can hold that castor oil. And you can keep reusing the compress because it's not drawing anything into it. The thicker your compress, the more castor oil it can hold, and then the more castor oil is available to go into you. At first, I would put about that much castor oil on, and then I would just sit it for a while. It takes about half an hour to soak right in. And as soon as it's placed on the body heat will warm that oil and it'll spread out.
Castor oil is a very important oil. Please get in tune with it if you are not in tune with it already. I thought this one was interesting. Let's listen in.
With Merriam-Webster, masters never teach their slaves how to read. And when we went to the government schools, they taught us that the English language is defined with Merriam-Webster or the Oxford English Dictionary. But when you go to court or any other time that the government writes something down, they define all their words with the legal dictionaries, Black's Law or Bouvier's. Learn to read their language and make them afraid of you.
It's that simple, folks.
Masters never teach their...
Very simple. Please educate yourself. Wisdom teeth.
Here's the big secret about wisdom teeth removal that they don't want you knowing about. Did you know that at least 95% of wisdom tooth removals are completely unnecessary? This industry created in the last 15 years has become a multi-billion-dollar market, just yanking out those wisdom teeth. Now, someone might actually believe that humans have evolved to have these wisdom teeth for no reason, but other people are thinking, maybe we do have these teeth for a reason, and why is everyone getting theirs yanked out nowadays? It all starts with this. They put you in a chair, x-ray you, frying your DNA, and they show you an image of your teeth growing in sideways, your wisdom teeth. The truth is, at least 60% of wisdom teeth, as they're growing in before they've come out of the gum, they are sideways, and it looks sketchy on a x-ray. However, just like in my case and many others I've spoken with, and there's documentaries on this, by the way, Your wisdom tooth is going to grow in sideways and then it's going to straighten out. And it's just how it happens naturally. I got pressured into getting my wisdom teeth removed. The guy was like, dude, you need them out. Look at this x-ray. I'm like, buddy, I'm not doing that. And now years later, all 4 of my wisdom teeth have grown in perfectly fine, despite seeing a shocking looking x-ray looking like, oh my God, my teeth are growing in wrong. Now that's one of the ways they fearmonger people into getting their wisdom teeth removed. However, this isn't against all dentists because of course, it's just what they're taught in their school. Who's running their schools? That's the question you want to ask. Anyways, keep in mind that the dentist who is telling you he's trying to save you from your wisdom teeth also adds fluoride to your teeth while they're washing you, and that absorbs into all your membranes and it's toxic. And if dentists make money from cavities, why do we want to trust a toothpaste that 9 out of 10 of them recommend? That's just a funny meme. Now, one of the reasons why they want your wisdom teeth removed actually relates to childbirth. When women give birth, it's such intense pain that it releases massive amounts of endorphins in their brain, which is a hormone associated with pain, and then it's a sensation afterward. This massive rush of endorphins in laboring women literally creates new neural pathways in their brain and rewires parts of their brain. When your wisdom teeth grow in, it's painful, and that pain releases endorphins, and those endorphins rewire your brain and improve it as your body was designed to get your wisdom teeth in, to have that pain and to grow through it. The other reason they're yanking people's wisdom teeth is right here. You can look up a meridian chart that shows the energetic highways that flow through each different organ in your body and relate to all your different teeth, which are living tissue, by the way. And your wisdom teeth on the left side of your mouth connect to your heart and your endocrine gland, your pineal gland, your third eye. And on the right side, your endocrine gland and your heart, your pineal gland and your heart. They're removing millions and millions of people's wisdom teeth, which are connected to their third eye and to their heart chakra. That's the real reason that they're getting people's wisdom teeth removed. With that being said, don't beat yourself up if you fell for the scam and got them yanked out, because someone could still have all 4 wisdom teeth, but not be in as heightened a state of consciousness as you.
That's crazy. I didn't know any of that. Luckily, I still have my wisdom teeth. Now, this is just important to note because you guys got to remember, they got to show you. Fucking copyrights. All right. On the border, a Texas sheriff has deputized 500 citizens in response to the SCOTUS ruling. SCOTUS is the Supreme Court of the United States, ruling that Texas must allow border access to federal agents. Sheriff Juan Robo, has deputized citizens to protect the people of Texas by any legal means necessary. It's going to get interesting, folks. Remain calm until it comes to you. Now, this is interesting. And there's just no sound on this video. Interesting. I mean, this is China or somewhere in Asia. More than likely China. And everything is being tagged in this visual. This shit is crazy. And they're trying to do that same thing here. They've already done it in the UK, I'm sure. In most places. Look at that. Well, now you guys know what to do when the time comes.
Somebody from the UN Food and Agriculture Organization sent me this report. This came out in 2013. Nobody ever reads these things. But he said, this is important. You have to read this. So I read it and ended up writing an article about it. It was published in May of 2016. UN let them eat bugs. Kind of the Marie Antoinette. I don't know that she really said that. A lot of people say she didn't. But the report was about how they're going to make us eat bugs, how meat and chicken and traditional agriculture were not sustainable. And the food of the future was going to have to be creepy crawlers. And they actually have a big section in the report about, those Westerners, they're pretty picky with their food. They're not really going to want to eat bugs. We're going to have a major propaganda campaign. We'll use state-funded media, and we'll use government indoctrination centers masquerading as schools to get them used to the idea of eating bugs. And so I reported all this over 10 years ago. And then along comes Joe Biden.
With regard to food shortage, yes, we did so talk about food shortages. And it's going to be real.
It's going to be real, right? So, a lot of people think, I'm not going to eat bugs. That's crazy, right? And Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum in their little video, they said by 2030, you're going to have to eat a lot less meat to save the planet. So how are they going to get people to eat bugs? Well, a combination of propaganda, indoctrinating children, and making you very, very hungry. And what you'll find as you look at these policies is every single one of the national and state and local policies traces directly back to various UN and World Economic Forum programs like Agenda 2030. Agenda 2030 was signed by every national government in the world in 2015 on behalf of the United States. Barack Obama called it an executive agreement. And it's a plan to totally transform every element of our lives. In fact, the head of the UN General Assembly at the time called it the Master Plan for Humanity. And if you read the preface, it says over and over again, no one will be left behind. And so a big part of this, as you read it, and I tie all the points back to that, is you got to transform agriculture. You got to transform the food supply. You got to transform every element of life. And so in keeping with that UN report on using government propaganda, here's the World Economic Forum promoting insect farming. And as we speak, they're actually building the largest insect protein manufacturing facility in the world in Decatur, Illinois. So the World Economic Forum thinks you need to eat the bugs. And here is the government's fund.
Illinois. Jesus.
Propaganda outlet known as PBS.
The future of food is being revolutionized by science, as new research helps bring unexpected ingredients to the table.
It kind of tastes like shrimp. They have this seafood quality to them.
It reminds you of like a Frito or a chip.
Yes, just a Frito or a chip, okay? So it's crazy talk, right? And so this actually comes from my home state of Florida. Everybody thinks our government schools in Florida are great. They're not. But this was sent to me by the parent of a concerned fifth grader. She was told that she had to do these workshops, and bugs are the food of the future. And she said, actually, in the class, they told the kids that eating meat is bad for the planet. Your parents are bad for wanting to eat steak all the time. They say, here's the list of how much CO2 emissions, right? Crickets, you get 47.47 kilos of crickets per ounces of CO2, whatever. And you see that apparently bugs are really, really sustainable. The government knows quite a bit about eating bugs. Turns out it's very, very unhealthy. I pulled these right out of the National Library of Medicine 2017 study funded by the government. Said that the chitin in bugs, the exoskeletons, will provoke human innate immunity to generate a deluge of inflammatory cytokines which injure organs and in persistent situations lead to death, multiple sclerosis, systemic lupus, and cancer.
Perfect.
Yeah, right? So the goal, folks, is not to save the planet. It's not to save the climate. Like the revolutionaries used to say back in the 60s, the Students for a Democratic Society, the issue is never the issue. It's not about global warming. It's not about sustainable development. It's about enslaving humanity. They want to wipe out small, medium-sized producers, centralize food control in the hands of mega corporations in bed with the mega governments. They want to move the population into the mega cities and ultimately bring about this great reset in what they call the New World Order. And I'm out of time, but I'll leave you with
Dr. Kissinger. Our satellite time is running out. What wonderful opportunity to conclude our week here with such concrete proposals and ideas of how we can really create, I would say, a new world order.
A world order where everyone shall eat bugs.
Yeah. So, things to be aware of.
These are just a few examples of how your government currently spends money. We found that they spent last year, $2.3 million injecting beagles with cocaine.
It seems that they were curious, their researchers were curious, despite the pain they inflicted on these dogs, they were curious to know if cocaine causes adverse effects. Guess what? Read the newspaper. Read the news. Look at the addicts across our country. You think you need to inject beagles with cocaine to know that cocaine's a bad deal? $700,000 was spent to study how male parrots attract their mate. Really? We spent $187,000 to study whether or not dogs help kids cope. Of course they do. Ask any pet owner. Any pet owner could have told you, and we would have saved the taxpayer $187,000. We spent $118,000 to study if a metal replica, a robot of Marvel Comics' evil warlord Thanos, could snap his fingers. $118,000, really? They apparently hired some dude to wear metal gloves and then try to snap his fingers. You know what? They found out that it's impossible to make a snapping sound with metal fingers.
This is real life, guys. This is why you need to be aware of what's going on. Let's keep on going. Open your eyes. Just not interested in the copyright strikes. Let's avoid them. But if you didn't know, Denver used to have all this demonic shit all over the place, the airport out there. And apparently it's all gone now. And of course, this is making major waves all across the internet because everybody would always talk about that one damn airport. I guess those up top finally caught wind of what was going on with us down here. And they made drastic changes really quickly. I mean, there was paint and art and all kinds of shit. Statues. I mean, everything was just demonic. It was not what you're seeing in the screen now. Not at all. They had murals all over the place. There's all kinds of shit. It was crazy. You guys got to go back. Like, I think there's a few History Channel Fs on it. Like, for real, look it up. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Biggest lymphatic glands in your body is in your armpits, right? And that's basically where your body excretes toxins, right? It pulls them out of your blood, puts them into the lymph system, your body attacks it, or it expels it out through sweat, right? And people are blocking it with aluminum-based deodorants and parabens, things that block those pores and prevent them from secreting the poison in your body. So what do you think happens? Where does the poison go? It stays inside you. See, simple things like that. And again, this comes down to health ignorance, because if you learn in business, like in real estate, for instance, you're like, man, none of these billionaires pay taxes. That's because they know how to use real estate as a loophole. Just because you're ignorant to the fact and you do pay taxes and you're mad about it, right? You can't be mad about that. That's financial ignorance. This is health ignorance. Like, if you don't understand the things that affect your body, then you're putting yourself at a disadvantage.
Now, most of us are over here thinking, okay, if we stop putting on deodorant, then we're going to stink, right? Well, I heard and I've researched, and if you do the same, you're going to see that chlorophyll, which is what makes all plants green. So eating more plants and having a plant-based diet, I'm not saying abandon meat, but when you do have more of a plant-based diet, it will take that smell out of your body odor. It will remove that. So when you sweat, you can detox without smelling terrible. Absolutely, this is a fact. You can look it up. It seems like a pretty good thing to teach in school in health class. Why weren't we never taught this? Why weren't we taught half the things we're seeing come out now? They've known about it. They just don't care about us. It's all about money.
Well, there you have it, folks. All basic. Thanks for the super chat, Alan. Turns out they already swapped them out for somebody else. So, probably dead. The CDC drafted a vaccine-related myocarditis alert, but never sent it. And this apparently happened in January 2021. Let's tune in.
The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention prepared to alert state and local officials to an emerging connection between heart inflammation and COVID-19 vaccines, but ultimately did not send the alert. That's according to a new document. Here's the document. Hey, this is the most recent draft of the alert. As discussed, happy to discuss. We have more calls with OR and CA, so we will have more updates. And so they attached it, and they never sent it. The CDC started receiving reports of post-vaccination myocarditis in January 2021 and either failed to detect or ignored a safety signal for myocarditis and the mRNA shots the following month. Previous reporting from Echo Time show. The agency also hit a warning from Israel, the country that first vaccinated young people who face the highest risk of myocarditis from COVID-19 vaccination. The CDC and other agencies have also repeatedly not disclosed other information that undermines their promotion of the vaccines, including how many COVID-19 cases were among the vaccinated. Wow. Okay, this sounds bad, but I'm waiting to make up my mind until I hear from Snopes. The newly disclosed email is dated May 21, 2020, May 21st, 2021. That's 3 days before a CDC work group acknowledged for the first time that the number of reported myocarditis cases after COVID-19 vaccination was higher than expected, and a week before the CDC said it was still recommending that virtually all Americans 12 years and up receive a vaccine. Wow. CDC uses a variety of ways to inform the public of potential vaccine safety concerns. And the thing called HAN is one method, a spokesperson said. The agency ultimately didn't do that, though. They didn't send an alert through an HAN. And what they did was they sent out a document called Clinical Considerations, which stated that there was an increased number of reported myocarditis cases after mRNA vaccination, but emphasized the CDC was still recommending vaccination for virtually all people age 11 and above. Wow.
Well, don't you remember it was like really high numbers, surprisingly high in children in age ranges from 11 to 20? remember what they counted as children was like in your 20s?
So there's
19?
That's right. They included people who are 18 as children. So there's a variety of ways to warn the public, but there's only one way to not inform the public, and that's the one they went with. The choice to change the alert to a statement was made after a call with the CDC partners, other emails show. The CDC's media office declined to outline how the CDC made sure the same people who had received an HAN saw the clinical consideration. So there was no way to make sure. The first alert reported in COVID-19 vaccines was issued on April 13th, 2021. It was for a combination of blood clotting and low platelet levels after the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. So now, so Johnson & Johnson, there goes the brand name for Johnson & Johnson. Now it's just going to stand for a couple of dicks fucking everybody over.
Well, that and OxyContin.
There you go. Why would they issue one for the? So they issued an alert for the J&J vaccine for the blood clots, but not for myocarditis post mRNA vaccination. Doctor, why do you think they did that? Why do you think they were willing to do an alert for the Johnson & Johnson, but they weren't willing to do an alert for the Moderna and Pfizer for myocarditis?
I don't know. One of them paid more.
Pfizer.
One of them has more power. I have no idea. My favorite line in that article, Jim, is the very last line. So you talked about how there was only one way to not inform the public, and that's the one that they chose, right?
Yeah.
At the end, they later sent multiple alerts encouraging COVID-19 vaccination.
Yes.
So they're alerting everyone about getting the vaccine, and none of those alerts even mentioned myocarditis.
Well, there you have it, folks. A little bit more of what we didn't know. Got a few more videos left and we're done. Let's check out what's going on in Tejas, aka Texas.
Y'all want to know how bad it is in Texas? I live 6 hours away from Eagle Pass. We've had to quit our jobs. I've had to get extra family members to move in my house to be able to watch for night shift and day shift. They're coming in. These illegal immigrants are the bad MFers. This is not the good ones. The ones that you really don't want to run into. Just look at Chicago and New York. Look how bad it is down there. Texas population is 28 million. There's 13 to 14 illegal immigrants in the United States. I'm telling you guys, we need to do something. We need to do something ASAP. Where's my real men? Where's the real men at? Where's my Texas guys at? Sign the bill, Governor Abbott. We don't care anymore. Hell with everyone else. We don't care. It's every man for himself down here. Every man for himself out here. And trust me, we're strapped up. We got all the stuff that we need. But it's getting that bad. I hope you feel me. I hope you understand. This administration that we have in the House, if you know what I'm talking about, is a joke. They're saying they're going to give a fine of $5,000 and up to 3 years in prison for the Federal Reserve that helped secure the border. I'm not joking. This is unreal. They're finding every loophole I've never seen in my life. It's every man for himself down here. But it's time for a change. It's time for a change, people. We need help down here. We're not getting it. Before it's too late, we need to sign that bill and get Texas own country. It's the only state of the United States that can become its own country. It's Texas. We need to make it happen. I need my Texas people. We need to make it happen. We don't need to sit back on this.
So if this guy's 6 hours away and he's this twisted about what's going on, imagine the people that are right there. Sheesh.
What did he say?
Somebody asked me about traumatic brain injuries and aneurysms. The most advanced information we have in neuroscience states you're supposed to boil chicken and beef for hours on end and let it break down. And if you go under ketosis and do that for a week on and a week off, it'll allow your body to heal that brain damage. But we don't really like to share that with people we don't think are important. Right? If you're not important, we'll put you on a bunch of prescriptions. But if you have brain damage, dementia, TBI or something like that, and you're important and you have information we need from you, we will put you on a ketogenic diet where we boil beef and chicken bones and make a broth. So you go under ketosis for a week on and a week off, and it actually cures people. 98% success rate.
Like and follow for more.
That's crazy. I don't know what kurtosis is, but I'm going to find out. Because that shit is crazy. The power of copper. Let's tune in.
Keeping this water clear. Alright, so it's been like 3 months. And that copper is keeping this water clear with no algae. If I wouldn't have had this copper in there, this would be nasty. And I would have to clean it like every week just to have the nice clean water. So copper is your friend. Alright, so it's been like 3 months. And that copper is keeping this water clear with no algae. If I wouldn't have had this copper in there, this would be nasty. And I would have to clean it like every week just to have the nice clean water. So copper is your friend.
Important information, folks. And this is the last video. I thought it was hilarious. Maybe you'll think the same. Let's see.
My daughter asked me how come we don't have a cool car, and I said, I beg to differ. We have the coolest car available on the road today, and that is a paid off car. That's right. I ain't got no car note. And she said, well, if you don't have a car payment, doesn't that mean you can afford a new car? And I said, not around here, partner. Not around here. This car might be 11 years old and have 190,000 miles on it, but we are going to drive her until the wheels fall off and the engine explodes on the side of the highway. We will drive her until the cost of the repairs outweighs what we have saved for a new car. And we are not fixing non-essential items. The backup camera doesn't work. That's fine. I learned how to parallel park without one. The radio works when it wants to. Also fine. I'm content sitting in the silence, listening to the racing of my own thoughts. The temperature gauge says it's 100 degrees outside. It's not. I live in New York. It's snowing. We're going to drive her until she doesn't drive anymore, because there is nothing cooler than a car that is paid off, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
That's right. God damn it. That's right. Don't let nobody tell you different. Appreciate y'all for tuning in today, man. I think we had a nice batch of videos to get it in with today. There's a lot of good information out there for you guys to go and do research on. You know, don't take anybody's word for anything. Prepare for everything. It's game time, you know. Whether it's just on TV or not, we'll soon find out, is my guess. But better safe than sorry. And that's just the truth. So thanks again, guys, for tuning in. Sorry for that mishap during the stream. I think Chrome threw an update out while it was going on, and it just threw everything off whack, and I didn't even know I was streaming for a second there. I was talking to myself, really, for a hot while. Anyway, catch you guys on the next one. The next one will be Sunday night. Peace. This is Wales Only. Glad you're right. The reality is that I want to be rich as fuck. There's only one way to be rich as fuck. That's by sitting on your ass the longest.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
That's the secret. The guy well told you. Richard done told you. I done told you. Kareem done told you. Maddie done told you. Everybody done told you. Everybody done told you. Shit, motherfuckers still acting like they don't know. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate
that. 100% safe. There's plenty of games left.
Valiant done told you. Yo, everybody said it. I mean, hey, you know what it is, man? Everybody done told you.